by far, and I mean by far, the biggest problem I hear people have when it comes to eating well and having, eating clean is the problem of cravings. So if it's 3 p.m., you find yourself there working on a boring project at work, and then that craving hits, it's almost like a slight agitation. You feel it in your throat, you salivate a bit, you feel fidgety, you want to reach for something. That's the craving killer. Maybe it's 9 p.m. at night. Maybe you just had dinner, you're watching TV, you're looking for something to do, and you want to look around and that fidgety feeling, that like incomplete feeling shows up. Well, cravings can obviously really derail your progress if you're trying to eat well and be consistent with health and weight loss behaviors. Today's video, I'm going to show you the 3 proven ways to get over sugar cravings even if you love food and you don't want to give it up. What's up everyone, Alex Hine here over at modernhealthmonk.com. So check out these 3 studies done on regaining control over sugar cravings. So in the first study, 193 obese men were given one of 2 breakfasts for 32 weeks, so over half a year. They were either given a high protein breakfast or a high carb breakfast. And here's what the researchers wanted to see. They wanted to know if the composition of the breakfast affected sugar cravings later in the day. But what's interesting is that the people in the high protein study had actually double the level of satiety, so double the level of fullness, and they were still sticking with this behavior. They also had markedly decreased levels of cravings. So the first principle here is easy. Meal composition. Eat more protein at each meal. Now in the second study done at Yale, researchers actually took participants and they hooked them up to a glucose monitor so that they could actually drip glucose to control people's blood sugar. So they wanted to induce low blood sugar, and then they gave these people a sandwich and they wanted to monitor the results. So once the people had low blood sugar, again, it was artificially induced here, the researchers actually showed them multiple pictures of food. So low calorie food, high calorie food, junk food, healthy food, everything in between. And the researchers not only asked the people which ones they craved, but they monitored their brain scans. And they found that the people that had low blood sugar, unsurprisingly, craved everything. They craved the low calorie food, the high calorie food, everything in between, healthy food, bad food, whatever. So low blood sugar was a major driver of their cravings. So the brains of these people did not even lie as well. They actually showed that they were heavily craving. So the areas of the brain involving craving, addiction, desire, those were lighting up like a light bulb. So principle number 2 is avoid low blood sugar. And the easiest way to do that is to eat more regularly. Don't let yourself get to the point where you're starving or your stomach's grumbling. And you can also do that by having more protein. Now the third principle here is called food cues. So it's kind of a known phenomenon that if you stop eating sugar, you stop craving it as much. And what's interesting though is that as soon as you think about eating sugar or eating food, your body, your brain releases dopamine, which begins the craving process. And then once you take your first bite of food, more dopamine is released. So the craving is even stronger to continue eating and to continue going forward with that. So one of the things that's really easy to implement in your own life is called availability. So the availability principle is really simple. If it's there, we're probably going to eat it. Like, I have no problems dealing with sugar, but if it's in my house, if it's available, if it's always there, if there's a cake in my fridge, I'm just going to start eating it without even wanting to, without even realizing it. Even if I've been clean for months, I will just destroy the cake. And that's just because it's there. The availability principle is obviously easy to avoid. Don't put it there. Don't put it in plain sight, and avoid it as best you can where you go. Now another tactic here is understanding your own emotional triggers. So I once had a person email me and she said, Alex, I get these cravings when sometimes I'm bored or I'm having a fight with my mom, and I don't really understand why they happen or when every single time. Do you have any advice here? So what I did was I had this college student actually do the index card method, where you carry around an index card, you write down whenever you get a craving, what you were just doing, and what you were just feeling. So for her, after about a week, it sounded a lot like this. It sounded the exact same. What were you just doing? I was doing my homework, browsing the internet. What were you just feeling? Bored. There were tons of variations on that. And then the other one was, what were you just doing? I was having dinner. What were you just feeling? Stressed because I fought with my mom. And after doing this for a week, she had more insight into her home behavior than she had in the previous 20 years combined, because she knew she had 2 exceptionally common triggers to her cravings. And from there, she could be aware of those situations and be able to manage them much better off. So your tiny habit for today is a 3-part habit. The first is Eat more protein with each meal, meal composition. The second is timing. Avoid low blood sugar by eating every 3 hours and making sure you're eating actual meals. The third is beware of your own food cues, beware of the availability principle, and do the index card method to see your own unique craving triggers and whatever's causing it to be set off. So I hope that helps. Make sure you leave a comment below. I want to hear from you what you think your biggest cue or your biggest trigger is for your cravings. If you're on YouTube, go on over to modernhealthmonk.com. Make sure you sign up on the email list there. I've got a real food weight loss guide for you there, and all my best guides and my bonuses are only on the site. They're not on YouTube anyway. Leave a comment below, subscribe to YouTube, you get the next video as soon as it's out, and I'll see you next time.